Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Simcoe's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast racking up the flight miles. So high, I might never come down, so what, this is my lifestyle.
What's going on, everybody? Man, Eric Wilson in for the Sports Arena. And, man, clearly, when a conversation needs to be had, all you got to do is say something in Facebook, and then everybody jumps on it. Listen, I'm not going to waste no time here this evening because we have a serious conversation that I feel needs to be addressed and needs to be talked about. I'm just going to put this caveat out there, ladies and gentlemen. This conversation may get a little uncomfortable. So if this ain't for you, much love. I'll holler at you another time. But I really feel like this is something that needs to get addressed. And now that there has been time to really look at, in my opinion, the totality of the situation, I think we could have a conversation about it. Don't know how it's going to be, but we finna find out. So for those who may have been living under a rock, let me just go ahead and break down what we're having this conversation about here tonight on the Sports Arena. Put my headphones in because I don't need the world hearing everything. As you know, the 2025 NFL Draft took place this past Thursday. And one of the names that everybody was expecting to hear go in the first round was Shedeur Sanders, who, as we know, is the son of the Colorado Buffaloes head coach, Deion Primetime Sanders. Now, here is what I will say to y'all, because how I feel is very simply like this. I feel that Shedeur should have went either between picks 10 through 20 in the first round, which didn't happen, or very early in the second round. That was how I projected, because I understood the quarterbacks that needed, the teams that needed quarterbacks, where he might fall. But this man didn't go until Saturday. Pick 144 in the 5th round. And I just need someone to make sense of it. Now, I got some people here who are joining me tonight, and I always welcome their opinion. And again, anybody who I reached out to today and said, listen, you want to be a part of this, let's talk about it. Because here's the thing. I'm not a keyboard warrior. I'm not someone that's going to hide behind a monitor or my phone or Twitter or any of the social media outlets. When I got something I need to discuss, I'm coming straight to the horse and saying, look, we can do this one of two ways. We can either do it like we're doing it tonight, or we can be face-to-face. I don't care. But what I'm not going to let people do is just throw comments out there and not hold their feet to the fire. That being said, let me go ahead and bring in two people who I've had the pleasure and privilege of working with previously. I thank them for being a part of the show tonight. I know I got one more guy chiming in here. First up, as I always do with the ladies, my friend, Miss Jen Lewis. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, my friend?
I appreciate you being here under these circumstances. Many blessings to you and to your whole entire family. I am glad things are on the upswing, and I'm glad that you are doing well. So I just wanted to say that first and foremost before we get into this, and before I bring the second gentleman in here, a man who, like me, does not hold his tongue, is going to speak his mind, and is someone who, again, I have had the privilege of working with. But what I love about him is he just shoots straight from the hip. It may be because he might be from the ATL. I don't know, but Jacob Christner's in the building. Thank you, sir, for being a part of this. I really do appreciate you.
No problem.
Sorry about
the red face here.
Oh no! Listen, it's that time of year. We all fitting to get sun. The only reason I don't get burned, just I might turn purple. But anyhow, let's get into the conversation. So, Jen, I want to hear everybody's thoughts on the situation, and please be transparent. Please don't hold back. Listen, if I need to put the disclaimer out, we might say a few things that are going to upset some people. I don't care, but I just need to make sense of what happened this past weekend with Shedeur Sanders in the NFL draft.
You want me to go first? Or
Yes, please. Yes. No, Jen, yes.
All right. Here's the deal. I think I don't remember who said this to me, but I thought it was very well said. It was the entirety of the NFL telling Dion to sit down. Because Dion, obviously one of the greatest ever to play, right? Like hands down, his athleticism, the fact he did it in baseball, like you can't. He's an amazing athlete. I question the integrity of the man though. Like I've seen him do some shenanigans that don't bode well. And honestly, like they didn't win any bowl games. I mean, it sucks that Shedeur took the reap for his dad, but Shedeur also was very unprofessional. A lot of his, by accounts from the NFL, from GMs that remained anonymous, he was very unprofessional in a lot of his interviews. He didn't want to be there. Some folks were worried about the strength of arm, but you're going to hear that with every rookie, right? Or the vast majority of rookies. But when you don't want to be there and you make it clear that you don't want to play for XYZ team, that's an issue. And when you're the Browns' second quarterback pick, he wasn't even their first QB pick. He was their second. That's saying a lot. I truly hope Mr. Sanders ate some humble pie, because I also think it comes from Jacob's quarterback too, from Caleb Williams, refusing to do a lot of the same things last year. And that really rubbed me the wrong way too. Like, do you think you're that much better than Joe Schmo? Why aren't y'all doing the physicalities? Why aren't you giving your medical records to the NFL teams? Why aren't you trying to pass the physical exams they give you? Why aren't you out there on the field practicing with your potential teammates and throwing your best? Every single day is a job interview. I've heard some people say that they feel like he's getting the treatment like Cap. No, I don't think so. I think that's apples and oranges, to be perfectly candid with you. Because Cap got drafted. There wasn't a question about that when he came out. Cap didn't come out with that ego. He ended his career with that ego. So there you can see it. But no, like just I was surprised he went in the 5th round. I honestly expected him to go late 2nd, early 3rd. 5th round shocked me. And I do think that was the entirety of the NFL telling Shedeur and any other future star quarterback that's up and coming, sit down. You a rookie. You a rookie. There's been one man I met, and you met him too, Eric, Charlie Young. He told me when they tried calling him a rookie, Charlie said, I'm not a rookie. I'm a first-year NFL player. I know the game. When you have that confidence and then you do everything for the NFL that Charlie Young did, all right, I'll sit back and let you talk. But Shedeur, you played for your daddy and your daddy's best friend. That's who you played for. Of course. So you got the question of coachability. Plus, is Dion really a quarterback coach? I love Ron Rivera, and you know that, Eric. Like, he is my favorite coach. And now GM for the Bears, San Diego Bears. Sorry.
Sweet.
But you just have to Ron was never a quarterback coach. Once the Panthers got rid of Chud, what happened to Cam? You've got to have a solid quarterback coach to make a great quarterback in the NFL. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. So, Jacob, before you go, I have a couple of things I want to say, and then I'm going to let you go. So, sure. Jen, I hear everything you're saying. I can't say that I agree with everything, because to your points, here's what I'm going to say. Number one, is it Shedeur's fault that his father coached him his entire career? No. His father, who you said is one of the greats to play the game, understands the game. I can say Deion Sanders, Coach Deion Sanders understands the game of football. He is now teaching it to the next generation. Mm-hmm. Whether that position is wide receiver, cornerback, tight end, offensive line, defensive line, or quarterback, he is teaching the game of football to his players. Jackson State wasn't in anybody's purview until Coach Prime got there. Colorado wasn't a team that we were talking about during the College Bowl years until Coach Prime got there. And yes, they had a great win against TCU, which kind of spawned them getting that recognition. But again, I'm looking at it from this perspective, which is what has me so angry about the situation. You are blaming the sins of the father on the son. Shedeur grew up in this environment. Shedeur looked up and still, I'm sure, looks up to his father. The same with Shiloh, who was an undrafted guy who is in Tampa Bay. So my issue is looking at the tape and looking at the talent that is Shedeur Sanders. In January of this year, most scouts said that he was the number 2 quarterback in this year's NFL draft. Meanwhile, as you said, Jen, yes, he was number 2. He was the second quarterback behind Dylan Gabriel that Cleveland picked up with the 144th pick. And to me, that just doesn't register. So either A, you are looking at this and saying, even though in the eyes of scouts and whoever is watching this young man in January is saying that he is more than capable and more than qualified to be an NFL quarterback. But then when you get to the outside noise, which, again, I can say I was at the combine. Do you know on Friday, the day before he was scheduled to be on the field, throwing the football, running the skills and drills, they do the interviews with the players. Do you know how many people, journalists, media, people like us, we're better than them, were just lined up at Shedeur stage? Jen, let me tell you something. I could have had an interview with a number of running backs, wide receivers, and quarterbacks. I could barely get to even sniff the back of where Shedeur was because everybody wanted to talk to him. I don't look at that as arrogance. I look at that as a man, a young man, an athlete. That's what I associate with them. We always say athletes can be cocky. We always feel like sometimes what I call wide receivers because they always have to have the ball. We shoulder the wins and losses of an NFL game on who? The quarterback. Not on the corner, not on the wide receiver, not on the tight end. We put them on the running back. On the quarterback. If we win, we praise them. If they lose, what didn't they do? Shedeur understands all of this. But yet, what people see as his cockiness, I see as his confidence, which some people view as his arrogance.
So I don't have a problem if an athlete's cocky. My favorite Panther is Steve Smith. You ain't gonna get somebody more cocky than that man. All right.
Jen, I will attest to that because I interviewed Steve Smith in New Orleans. Let me tell you something. That is one man who gives zero, you know what, F's about anybody or anything. So
yeah, he's a cocky dude, and I don't have a problem with cockiness. My thing is, I feel like it comes into coachability at the end of the day and how he came across in his interviews with the team, with the C-level suites at XYZ team. Because so many of those GMs came out and said he was not at his best. It was one of the worst interviews ever. I mean,
then put their name on it. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is put your name on it. If you're going to be a GM or you're going to be an integral part of an NFL organization, and you are interviewing Shedeur Sanders, and if that's how you feel, then put your name on it. Because what I can't stand, not to this day, and y'all know me, I'm not what if someone says Eric said this,
Yes.
did you come to me? I'm gonna let you know. Did I say that? Yes. Did I say that? No. I'm gonna let y'all know straight up and down. But let me get Jacob in here because I want to hear from him, and my man Rel is in the building, so let me get him in here too. But Jacob, please go ahead, man.
What's going on, Ale? How you doing? Oh, I guess he can't hear.
He
No.
might
What's
be.
going on, man?
Yeah, he's on a bit of a delay. But go ahead, Jacob.
Well, let me say this to you, Jen. One of the things that I can absolutely say to you, without a shadow of a doubt, is you brought up about it was so shocking that it was 5th round. You know, I mean, which was shocking to all of us. Don't get that wrong. But where I really started seeing that this could get really ugly was that Tyler Shuck got ahead of him. And I'm like, realize this, Eric, realize this. If I'm going to go all out on how ridiculous the passing percentage of Anthony Richardson was, you got to go after Shuck also. He barely was 60. He was like 61, 62%. And I was like, it wasn't 53 like the whole thing. But I mean, he does not, even his highlights that the Saints wanted to show were unimpressive as all get out. And his combine was terrible. And everything. His combine was miserable. And the same was Howard, but that's the funny thing. Will Howard's was miserable, and he went down to 6 to get my point. But here's the thing.
Got it right here for you. I did my own scouting on them quarterbacks. But please go ahead.
No. Here's the thing. This is the big thing to it, though. How many times do we see Deion Sanders and those videos, and how many times do I also talk about how much I love how he is mentoring those kids, Deion in that locker room, teaching them. Remember that the last one that I saw was one when he was teaching that kid who wanted to get his own business going and try to get some seed money, and try to get that thing, and he was teaching him based off of that. He's teaching him about life. I love what Deion does there. But what Deion teaches in that locker room is, and I'm going to say this, you're talking to somebody who's, and Jen has called me out on this too. I'm cocky. I'm cocky. I'm cocky. I've got to think too. I get this also. I do not deny my confidence. I do not deny any of that. But let me say something like this. What Deion teaches in there, which is amazing in that locker room, is completely the antithesis of legendary with a set, with all 32 teams on the hats, all that stuff. And one more thing to say, and I want to bring this part. A lot of people are using what is the difference between the Mannings and Deion's and the Sanders.
Yeah, the Sanders and the Mannings, exactly.
Yeah. What's the difference? This is the thing that I can absolutely say, and you're correct. Archie was like, no to the Chargers so they can go to the thing. He absolutely was. I will bring that to no doubt. But here's the thing. Eli, and this is just, okay, guess what? It is opinion, but it's also fact in this way. Eli stayed the Giants the whole time. One of the things we have from Deion, no matter what we have, is he's a wonderful mentor. But I wanted him personally to stay at Jackson State. Jen's heard me say this before.
Oh, yeah, I agree with him on that. I
wanted him to stay at Jackson State because I wanted him to help the HBCUs so much. I wanted him to. And she heard me. She was my producer when we were saying these on Pundit's Pundit. I wanted him to stay with the HBCUs because I wanted him to help the HBCUs. They still need so much, and he could have really brought them into another level. And he went to Colorado and everything like that. And one of the things is, no matter what the Mannings did, the one thing that the owners are scared of is that, okay, he's 2-3 years. Is Deion going to interfere in? I want to get another team. 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 We're not satisfied. We're not satisfied. We're not getting the team. There's the one difference that I could say with that is Eli stayed. And the only reason Peyton didn't stay was his neck. And he was over at Denver. They basically was one team and two teams, where there is a lot of fear with the Sanders that they'd go elsewhere all the time the minute they weren't satisfied.
Okay. So my pushback to that, and then Rel, I'll let you get in here. My pushback to that is this, because, and I'm glad you brought that point up, because my man, my brother, the sports reporter without pay, Ray Lynn, who I'm going to talk about when I end the show tonight. When we were at the Black Sport Business Symposium in Atlanta, and Deion Sanders was there, Ray got to talk to Coach Deion Sanders. And he asked him that very same question. Like, why? Why did you basically move from Jackson State to Colorado? And Deion said, when God makes the call, you answer it. And then Ray went into a different question, and he still gets on me because we were being told to turn our phones off and not record it. But so I didn't want to get kicked out, so I did. But the second part of that conversation, when Ray pushed back a little bit to get more intel as to what was that decision, what I will say to you is this. Being the head coach of a college or a university football program, if that is your life's work, then you make a decision on what you want to do. But if you feel either A, you are ready for more, or B, you don't want to be a part of because of XYZ, then yes, you will take your talents elsewhere. So then it goes from being your lifelong work to a job. But here's what I will say. And shout out to Loso in the comments saying he did help the HBCUs, because I feel like he did. Because what he did, and I've had this argument, was he established a blueprint on how to be successful as a head coach at an HBCU. So he left the HBCU community better than it was. Now, a lot of people, such as yourself, Jacob, and Jen, you too, feel like, yes, he should have stayed to really put them on the map. But again, I go back to what I said earlier. Were they on the map prior to him getting there? Yes, but in a very microcosm of a spectrum. He elevated the entire HBCUs. So when that job, essentially, when he did all that he thought he could do there, it was time for him to move on to the next chapter, being now at Colorado. Go ahead, Jen.
So I also had somebody who interviewed Deion, and they, I can't remember who it is for the life of me right now, so I apologize for not giving friends. But they told me that the other part of it was Jackson State only had so much money to pay the coaches, and Deion didn't mind like not getting a minuscule amount. So I'll give him props for that. By like all accounts, that's what I heard. But he couldn't pay his assistant coaches either. And that's where he had an issue, because his assistant coaches didn't make the millions that he made. Sorry, a tweet came through. And that had a lot to do with it too. But you're right. He made his footprint on HBCUs. Do I wish he had stayed or gone to a different HBCU? Kind of, yeah. But you know what? You made a point earlier, Eric, that he put Colorado back on the map. And because like when Jordan Long, who went to CU, would be like, oh, CU would be like, who? And now I know who they are when he refers to them, or anyone refers to CU. So like, I mean, props to that. But I would love to see another coach go in there and take the blueprint Deion did, elevate it a little more.
Of course, we always want to see that success. We want to see, it's like, okay, it's it's the adage in the Bible. You feed a man a fish, you feed him for a day. You teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. You know what I'm saying? I get all of that.
Yeah.
So what I am saying is, again, going back to Shedeur in this conversation, is Shedeur on the field could do and is qualified to play at the level that he is currently at. But for the NFL, for the owners, for the general managers, for one, for them, the general managers, not to put their name on the fact that he didn't know how to interview or didn't interview to their liking, you know. And yes, this is the one thing I will say in a negative connotation against the Sanders, if you will. Dion speaking and saying his son's going to go top 5 on national television. Okay, did that hurt his son's stock? Yes, but I can rebut that and say, what parent wouldn't say that about their child? Maybe not to the degree of national television, but what parent wouldn't, if they see the potential in their child, what parent wouldn't say, yeah, my kid's going in the top 10? You know what I mean? Especially if the child is gifted and talented like that. Rel, please jump in here. I know you've been patiently. Please, my brother. Go ahead, my man. Speak your mind.
Jacob, Jen, Eric, what's going on? Can y'all hear me first
What's
of all?
going on? I can hear you now.
Yes, sir.
Good.
Awesome. Hey, I'm so passionate about this because I got so much to say. So let me know when to shut up, all right?
No, you keep going.
Hey, y'all made some valid points. I gotta address you, Jen, and you, Jacob. First of all, Jen, you made one point that Shedeur wasn't coachable. When have we ever heard of a report of him not being coachable? It's not, like Eric said, it's not his fault that his father trained him up from little league to college. That's a plus, but he's never been in that environment to be considered not coachable. What he's shown and what we've seen was his competitiveness and that personality that he's been brought up in his environment. Now, secondly, Coach Prime did all he could at the HBCU level, and I'm an HBCU grad, been following it since a kid. What he did was not only show the blueprint, but he showed and highlighted that we have talent on the HBCU level that transitions to the NFL playing level. And from there, we've seen more people drafted on UDFAs. A lot of players have been thriving on the professional level from the HBCU rankings. Now, let's move into the Shedeur on the NFL draft. Now, I was able to meet with a lot of analysts from ESPN. Everybody had Shedeur in the first round prior to the draft. A week, getting close to the draft, then we hear reports from a scout saying that his post or pre-interview with the teams didn't go well, and he came off very cocky. That ran with the media. That ran with teams in the NFL, from what my understanding is, and they made that perception. When we got down to it, one thing we can't deny Shedeur is his talent. He made it happen at JSU. He made it happen at Colorado. He shows that he has a strong arm. He shows IQ. He's trained with some of the best, the GOAT, Tom Brady, and he has that dog mentality. He has a proven track record that he can finish a game and make a comeback as well. So I had him second outside of Cam Ward. My big thing is, with him falling so low, it kind of showed me that this was a targeted hit on Shedeur and his family. Shedeur was very cocky, from my understanding, and like Eric said, his father was going on these talk shows, saying that he wouldn't play at this place, and my son is this, and this, and it seems like the NFL wanted to cap him on that level, just like they did with Kaepernick. And it seems like if you get too big or too much outside the box, the lead is going to make sure that nobody following you will ever do that again. And that's what it really seems like here. I don't know if you guys agree, but that's what it really seems like. You're not going to come in, you're going to stay within the lines. So whoever else follows will not be on that same type of level. But I think this is a great opportunity for him to show. I didn't like Cleveland, at first, because there's a heavy QB room in Cleveland. But you got Flacco, you got Deshaun Watson, who's kind of hurt, and the rest of them, Shedeur is better than him. He'll be all right. So, I mean, I got a lot going on in my head in this thing, but what do y'all think?
Well, can I say something real fast? I was going to bring this part here. Let me say this, man.
Did you freeze?
Yeah, Jacob's freezing right now. Go ahead,
Can you
brother.
hear me?
Yeah, you're good. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. the thing about it is, one of the biggest things about him, first off, the only stat and I know about the stats and I've seen his games. The only thing that worries me with Shedeur in the NFL, he got sacked a pile at Colorado. And the NFL's offensive lines and defensive lines are a way different ball wax. And that's one of the things. That's not the reason he didn't get elected. I mean, he didn't get selected. That's not the reason. I brought it up itself before you were there. And it was like Tyler Shuck. It's like at this point in time, now you're getting ridiculous. But one of the things about these deal also is the fact that he did not face once he went to Colorado. I'm not going to bring up Jackson State. It's a different deal. Once he went to Colorado, we had, and Eric saw this itself, and we all have we can have our debate on that forever. It's just about Shedeur tonight. But I brought up Jackson Dart. Thing about Jackson, the difference, the one thing I liked with the Jackson Dart and the Shedeur Sanders, as far as where the Giants picked up, and I'm saying this part, once an SEC quarterback, it is a heavier duty, without a shadow of a doubt, a heavier duty competition. And he went 10-2 and 9-3 in those areas, and then 7-2 and 8-1, and it's all that kind of stuff like that, and about a 70% completion percentage, which is actually 74 for Shedeur. So we see those. The difference is he doesn't get sacked near as much, gets rid of the ball quicker, doesn't try to go for the big play, get all that kind of stuff. Those are the reasons I liked him over Shedeur in that case. Now, should he have gone fifth? No, it became, I'll admit I was doing all the laughing because it became absolutely, it became ridiculous at that point. Once you get down to the fifth round, there's jokes to be made, memes to be put when you see something like that, because everybody knows it's goofy when you see him go down to the fifth. But either way, those were the reasons on that. There are some weaknesses on Shedeur's end.
But there are weaknesses. Go ahead.
My thing for you, Jacob, what if you put Jackson Dart in Shedeur's shoes at Colorado? What do you think kind of season he would have had? Coach Prime knew from the get-go they didn't recruit well, and look at what Shedeur was able to do with no offensive line. They were killing him for 2 seasons, and he would thrive in that offense. He showed his toughness, he showed his competitiveness, and still competed at a high level. My thing with, I think the most pivotal part of the whole draft was during the draft, Mel Kiper, Louis Riddick got into it, and they were trying to kind of calm Mel Kiper down because Mel Kiper knew in his mind, this is some bullshit. Excuse me, this is some BS.
No, you're right. That's fine, bro. Say
Go
it.
right ahead. Say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was so pivotal. It was because Louis Riddick and the other analysts were trying to brush it under the rug and say, hey, everything's over. He landed where he landed. What can he do now? But what I liked about Mel Kiper is he understood that, no, we need to address this now. The league needs to be accountable. He was targeted. Shedeur was the at worst, number 3 quarterback in the draft. Cam Ward, maybe Darts, but Shedeur was up there, and he fell on a personal level based on what ran in the media, what a scout that doesn't know what he's talking about said, and personal, opinions and likes of their family. There's no other. How many quarterbacks went in front of Shedeur that was better than him?
One. And that was the guy. That was the guy who went number 1 to Tennessee, who, by the way, also did not perform at the NFL Combine. Let me get my man Playmaker in here really quick. But before we get to that, I want to show y'all something, because shout out to Loso Bradley in the comments saying this. Y'all know how Instagram works. We put those things that we want to keep up there. We keep that. I want y'all to look at this, and I'm going to try and zoom in if I can here. But of all the posts that the NFL has put up, trades, draft, the whole 9 yards, the 2 that are pinned, the 2 are Cam Ward right here and Shedeur going to Cleveland. So is this the NFL's way of giving an apology, saying we'll keep you up top as someone who is important to us, even though we basically screwed you by dropping you to the 5th round. I mean, because let's be honest here. When is a 5th round quarterback ever gotten this much clout from the moment that he was drafted? Don't worry, I'll wait. That my point. Thank you.
Well, we're not. There's nothing. Right? Go ahead, Jen. I'm sorry.
Just because, okay, I did say also that I was surprised he went so low. I truly thought he would go at the end, back into the 2nd, beginning of the 3rd. So honestly, he did get shafted. I'm not gonna lie, no bones about it. I actually felt bad for the kid. That being said, no, he shouldn't take the hits because of his dad. However, my thing with coachability is, when you have so many different people, and yes, they should come out and say their names. Sign your name to it. You're already an NFL GM. What's going to happen? You get fired and you get picked up by another team? Okay.
Facts. Thank you.
Right? What's going to happen? I mean, you're already up there. You're at that level. You're at the echelon of your career.
You are one of 32.
Exactly. You will have a job. Sign your name to it. I agree with you on that, because I did appreciate that the Browns GM said that, he something like he was really impressed by how he performed on the field. He didn't love everything he said in the interview, but he appreciated everything else. But there was another quarterback that was mentioned earlier that went in the 6th round a couple of years ago, but actually a couple of decades ago. He ended up being, I call him the GOAT of the postseason because I can't give him the GOAT name, but a lot of people do. And honestly, and I have said this, I hope Shedeur becomes the next Tom Brady, or his version of Tom Brady, the next Patrick Mahomes.
Well, I want him to be the Shedeur Sanders. That's what I want. I understand where you're coming from.
That works.
But I want him to be Shedeur Sanders.
And from a football standpoint, I'm excited that he's going to step behind Deshaun Watson. Not from a person standpoint, mind you, because I do think Shedeur has a lot more character than Deshaun has proven that he has.
Listen, I'll tell you right now, Deshaun Watson's not playing another snap as the Cleveland Browns quarterback. So he must just pack his bags up and go into retirement, or maybe be a backup somewhere else. Joe Flacco has been retired, unretired, retired, unretired. Joe Flacco could be a mentor, but Joe Flacco should never see the light of day unless everybody in that locker room catches influenza. Okay? That's what I'm just saying. All right? Who's the third guy in there aside from Dylan Gabriel?
Kenny Pickett.
Oh, yeah. Kenny Pickett. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. Kenny Pickett. He's got a Super Bowl ring.
Fake slide.
He's got a Super Bowl ring for being a part of Philadelphia. So he on borrowed time right now. Okay, that's where he's at. I think he wants to go back to the AFC North and prove to Pittsburgh they made a mistake. But that's another story from the time. So who's left? The 94th pick, 93rd, Dylan Gabriel, and then Shedeur Sanders. So out of the 5, I'm gonna tell you right now, 3 of them, they backups. So to me, it's down to Dylan and Shedeur, and quite frankly, that's not even a conversation to be had. It's Shedeur, and then everybody else can just figure it out. So, playmaker, go ahead.
Find an NFL a current starting NFL quarterback. Just see how it's played in the NFL.
That's where Joe Flacco comes in at.
Oh yeah, I mean Joe Flacco also knows how to scramble, so I'm fine with that. But honestly, I was cool with him even learning a little bit of football from Deshaun. I mean, and far be it for me, as a woman, to want Deshaun to stay in the league, but I do actually want to see Shedeur Sanders succeed. And when we're tossing these rookies out here, look at Justin Fields, look at Bryce Young, look at CJ Stroud last year. We got to see it. And I felt bad. We were saying it on Chicks in a Pot and Chicks and Salsa. Then Tom Brady was listening to us and said it publicly. So thank you, TB. But we need the rookies to sit behind a starting quarterback again.
But, okay. All right. And I agree with that to a certain extent, Jen, and I'll get to that in a moment. Playmaker, because I know you got to go, Jen, so I'm not going to keep you much longer. Playmaker, go ahead and get your point, but then I gotta say what I say before I let Jen get off of here tonight.
I mean, what more can I add?
How do you feel?
I mean,
How do you feel about the situation? You saw it go down just like the rest of us here tonight on the Sports Arena. We all saw Thursday night happen. Shedeur Sanders' name wasn't called. We all saw Friday evening happen, and Shedeur Sanders didn't have his name called. When it got to the fourth round on Saturday, what was going through your mind?
fourth round when he got in the Friday.
Fine. At the end, fine. At the end of Friday, when you stopped watching the third round of the 2025 NFL draft, what were your thoughts?
This is deeper than football. This is deeper than football. Whatever happened between the NFL, Deion Sanders and Shedeur Sanders, rubbed the NFL the wrong way. And when I say the NFL, I mean the owners. Mm-hmm. And my thinking is I don't think it's the GM. I think it's the owners. But I ain't had no proof to go with that. And then Boomer Esiason appeared Monday and said the owners were telling the GMs to take Shedeur Sanders' name off their draft board.
Here's my problem with that. How do 32 men, women, who are probably some of the most confident individuals in the world, the rest of the world can call them cocky, the rest of the world can call them arrogant, but how do 32 men and women who are owners of NFL teams, who are some of the most confident people in the world, how do they not recognize confidence and call it arrogance? That is my issue right there. Because you know what? When let's just take the five of us on this right here tonight. All right. When any of us attend a sporting event as media, you do understand that we are doing something that so many people wish and want to do. But when the five of us who have put in the work and are given the opportunity, we go in there with confidence. It ain't cockiness. It ain't arrogance. It's the fact that we know we are, excuse my language tonight, y'all, but this just, it frustrates me.
Say it.
We are fucking good at what we do. Okay? So when we go to the women's Final Four, when we go to the Super Bowl, when we go to the WNBA, when we go to the NBA playoffs, when we go to Major League Baseball, on the highest level, we know who we are.
Yep.
And when we strut in with confidence, there are those who are going to see us as cocky. But it ain't cockiness. It's just the fact that we know who we are. And we ain't changing. So that's why it bothers me so much that 32 NFL owners don't recognize that Shedeur is not arrogant. Shedeur is not cocky. This young man is confident in his ability. He is authentic in who he is. And he's fitting to tell y'all, he's not going to code switch. Why is that a problem?
Honestly, Eric, I think it goes back to Caleb. You get Caleb Williams acting like that last year, and you have Deion and Shedeur. I know you don't like it.
Jen, we could run the list. Laramie Tunsil, when he got drafted, before he got drafted, someone on what used to be Twitter posted a photo of him in a gas mask smoking weed. Okay? The night of the draft, all this got dropped. But yet he was still picked up.
Yeah.
There are so many players who do not go, who are invited to the NFL Combine, who do not perform at the NFL Combine. They wait till their pro day. They still got picked up. Why is Shedeur the one that is made to be the proverbial scapegoat? Because his daddy is Deion?
That I'll say about 75% is because of Deion Sanders. And the way Deion Sanders talk.
And I go back to what I said earlier before you jumped on, Playmaker. You are blaming the son for the sins of the father.
But like I said, remember that. Remember the biggest thing, and I know you have something to say, Jen. So I'll get to this in a second. No, like you brought up why these people. Remember, the ownership is a very small but very, very rich fraternity.
Mm-hmm.
Very much, and they're all. I mean, each and every time. And who heads the fraternity? A lot of people think Jerry Jones. There's a possibility. If that's the case, there's a possibility it's him.
Mm-hmm.
But Jerry had Dion on his team.
It doesn't even matter. Doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Okay. So then let me answer this, Jen. Let me say this. Go ahead, Jen. I'm sorry.
Sorry. Jerry also had Dion come down a couple of months ago. They were talking about him being his head coach. What happened? And they were also talking about drafting Shedeur first round. So what happened in those conversations? Because Eric, and I know some stuff too. I'm not going to go into it right now. Jerry Jones holds the weight of the NFL. He ain't even the richest owner. But we all know he has the weight of the NFL and the weight of the other owners.
You know what happened with that Dion conversation? We know how Dion is. Dion wants to be able to coach his team the way he wants to coach.
Yeah.
And we all know Jerry Jones
ain't
giving up no power.
Jerry ain't doing that. We know that.
Exactly.
Jerry ain't doing that.
That's why Bill Belichick is not the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
That's where their conversations went.
It's sorry,
Eric,
what?
Real quick.
Go ahead.
You just put it on the head. The ownerships of the NFL are collective, like my man said, they're a conglomerate. They have a similar mentality. They have similar, not just a mentality, but similar interests as far as revenue. Your show, we have a diverse collective. We have, if someone doesn't agree, we feed off of that. It's totally different, man. Prime and his son and the fabric of them, they're cocky, they are confident, but they are powerful at the same time. Look at what he does and look at the following he does. Like you mentioned earlier, the way he mentors and the way he talks to us, it motivates his players to play on a high level. He has kids and adults that want to come just be a part of his organization because of who he is. And they've already seen Prime for so many years back in the day. Imagine having to do that over with his son with the same personality, coming in as a rookie, telling you what he's not going to do, who he is, and then bringing the fanfare with him as well.
Okay. But at the end of the day, and this is something that I hope someone either listening or one of the five of us can track. What I want to see is how much revenue does Shedeur Sanders make the Cleveland Browns this year? From jersey sales, from whatever endorsements he gets. I want to know how much revenue does Shedeur Sanders bring to the Cleveland Browns organization? Because if this club, let's call it what it is, if this club is all about generating more revenue and they are taking and giving, let's just say, they're giving these athletes an opportunity to perform on the highest level because their ROI, their return on investment is, well, you're going to make me more money because I'm going to have more eyes watching my game because you're playing. I want to see the increase in revenue, if there is one, with Shedeur Sanders playing for the Cleveland Browns and how much that impacts that organization.
I'm looking forward to see how long it's going to take for the Browns fan bases to start chanting for Shedeur Sanders to be in the game.
How are they not? How are they not already doing it? We went through the list of the people in that quarterback room right now.
Because at the same time, the last time the Browns did something very good, Joe Flacco was the quarterback. So,
all right.
So
Jen,
you got to take that into conversation. You got to take that into consideration.
Jen, listen, I know you got to ride out. I want to give you a chance to say any last thing before you get out of here tonight. And I do appreciate you taking time again to be a part of the sports arena.
Thank you so much for the invite, Eric. I love being on here. I love you. Platonically, of course. You are awesome. So much respect for you.
I hope so.
See you later because I know you will.
Yes, I definitely will. Thank you, Jen. Fellas, listen, I appreciate y'all. And this just goes to show people when I put something out there, this who shows up. I know others wanted to show up but couldn't, and I totally get it. But gentlemen, I thank the three of you for being here. I'm gonna give each of you a chance to give a final word on the situation, and then I'm gonna close out the show. So, Playmaker, I know you've only been with us for a short time, but I'm gonna let you go first, and then I'll go to Jacob, and I'll let my man Rel go after that. So, any lasting thoughts that you want to say about this, sir?
I want to see what Shedeur does in Cleveland, and depending on what he does in Cleveland, I'm gonna look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are in prime position in the first round, in the third round, in the fourth round, in the fifth round to get a quarterback. You passed on Shedeur Sanders 5 times. You passed on other quarterbacks until you wait to the 6th round. So I want to see how Shedeur does in Cleveland, and then I'm gonna look at the Pittsburgh Steelers because why you waited so long to finally drop the quarterback? Because everybody knew going into the draft, you were one of the teams that needed a quarterback. Because that's the main position that's keeping you hold back. So the fact that Shedeur is in your division, that's going to make it from some interesting headlines.
Appreciate you, brother, man. I'll definitely holler at you, man. Ramley Football Talk. Make sure you check this brother out. He also does WNBA and NBA. I know you said you were a little upset that we didn't talk NBA playoffs, man.
I was just messing with you.
Hit me up this week. I got some stuff for you. We could definitely talk about it, my brother. But much love. I'm definitely Jacob. Please, sir, give me your final thought.
Playmaker, you've got that jazz sounding voice. I love it. You really do.
Yeah.
Right. You need to be on the radio. No. The thing is, you brought up something big, Eric. You said it yourself that you're going against what the owners want. And you're being cocky based off of them. You brought that up. Here's a thing that you can say that says it's true. Remember this. What was one of the biggest memes or videos that we saw? That was cut, of course, but it was there. It was Shedeur asking Cam to let's cut the song together, and Cam says, "I play football." Mind you, later in the video, Cam did say he's generational. Let's be honest. I love Cam Ward because when Cam Ward was in that first round, he came in there as simple as you can get. He came in there. I am talking about he came in ready to play football. He looked, I'm just saying by itself, just walk through that deal. He looked like he wanted to get back on that field the minute he went through that tunnel. You know what I'm saying? To go pick his number one deal. But that's what they loved. And when they showed that video, and it was a very cut video, very edited video, it was, I play football. Like, he only thinks of football. And mind you, Cam Ward, we know that story. 0-star quarterback, dug, you know what I mean, until he made it. To me, that needs to be a story in itself. But that was the thing about it. They were showing that whatsoever. They were doing that to Shedeur to say, sit down. And that's the biggest thing with that. And I want the world to completely understand, for everybody, in the end, the NFL and the owners and everything have the power.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Rel, man, give me your final thought, brother.
Final thoughts, man. I'm looking for 3 things. First of all, like you said, sales as far as revenue, as far as merchandise pushing the door, is going to go through the roof after this man. I'm buying a Sanders Browns jersey thing. I'm looking for 2 things, Eric. I didn't like the response of the Shedeur, and that's one of my biggest concerns of him in Cleveland. We love what CJ Stroud did in Houston, but he had a supporting staff to help mold his game around to be the best he could be. We always talk about that. What if we would have got him in Carolina? He would have failed, man. We didn't have the staff. So I want to see if he has that supporting staff, and it doesn't look like it right now. It doesn't even look like they really wanted him on the team. So I know he has the talent, but I want to see what they do as far as coaching and prepping to get him ready. And will they have him develop the proper way in Cleveland. So that's what I'm looking for.
All right, gentlemen, I appreciate y'all. Much love. Everybody stay blessed, and I will definitely holler at you. Jacob, Rel, Playmaker, man, thank you all for being a part of the show tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, to everybody who joined tonight in the comments, thank you so much. But I wanted to end the show a little differently. As most of you may or may not have seen, I have stepped away from the sports arena for a period of time after the NFL Combine. I was, doing some things. I'm working on other ventures. I am. And real talk, it has been a little bit of a struggle, no lie. But I wanted to have this conversation tonight, and it did. It helped, of course, always reinvigorate me, rejuvenate me, and remind me why I love doing this, why I love doing the sports arena. But the most interesting thing was today, this afternoon, I got a message from someone who, he already know he is truly like right here. That's my dog. That's my man. And what he said, I ain't going to share with y'all. That's for me. It's for me and those who heard it. But it reminded me of two things. It reminded me of the grind. And it reminded me why I love this show and why over the last 7 years, I have grown not only as a host and a co-host, but I have grown as a producer, as a content creator, and just as someone who realizes that I have a platform and damn it, I'm going to use it. So I say this to simply say to everybody over the last 7 years, whether you loved me, you hated me, you liked what I did, didn't like what I did, had a thought, had an opinion, it doesn't matter. Man, I just want to, again, I feel like I haven't done this in a while, but I want to say thank you. Because truly, as I tell everybody who wants to get into this, man, when you start this, whether it be 1 or 1,000, it's an audience. There are people who are going to want to hear what you have to say. They may not like it, but for whatever reason, you intrigue them. And so for everybody who has thought I was crazy at times, to all my Cowboy haters, and y'all know who you are, when it comes to the W, I'm excited for this season because I feel like the torch is truly being passed on to the Paige Beckers of the world, the Caitlin Clarks, the Angel Reeses, the Camila Cardozas, and then soon to be down the road, the Juju Watkins and the Hidalgos of the world. When it comes to basketball, how much more time does LeBron have? I guess we'll find out. That might not be the rest of this season, but it might be in the next season. I don't know, but that's another conversation for another time. But again, at the end of the day, I just want to make sure that I'll let everybody know that I appreciate y'all. And again, 2 things I said when I put it in my Facebook post. Number 1, I'm just a loudmouth with an opinion. Number 2, and most importantly, I ain't never a hard man to find. Everybody stay blessed. Thank you for being a part of the sports arena. Much love. Peace.